Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Basic Teen TV. We are a weekly podcast where we come together and talk about a 90s, 2000s teen TV drama. The show we've been currently discussing is Dawson's Creek. We are into season 5, and tonight we're going to talk about episode 7. My name is Melissa.
I'm Victoria.
I'm Cindy.
Welcome, guys.
Woo, 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 woo.
Woo. How's it going?
Good.
All right, so episode 7. Let's just jump right into it.
Actually, things are really bad right now.
Oh, no. What?
No, they're not.
Okay, good. Great start, you guys. Okay, episode 7 called Text, Lies, and Videotape. I think we were all in agreement that this episode was a snooze fest. It was pretty boring, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it was boring.
So Dawson goes to therapy.
Finally. I mean,
That's what Victoria says about any man who's finally gone to therapy. Just in life, Victoria's like, finally.
I mean, it shouldn't have taken his father dying to send him to therapy. He needed it before that.
Wow.
But, you know, he's there now, so he's trying.
Yeah, so he's been having some panic attacks. So this is the main reason. Panic attacks since his father's death. So this is the main reason why he's going into therapy.
I think the therapist was questioning because he was like, oh, I'm having panic attacks because my dad died. And she's like, are you sure that's the reason? And I think it's because he like dropped out of film school and because of Joey and now he doesn't know what to do with his life. So he's panicking, which that seems fair.
Yeah, it like ruined his life.
Yeah.
His future.
Wow.
Hey,
Harsh,
he
bro.
was at the most prestigious film school in the country, University of South Carolina. Hello,
keep
ever
doing
heard of it?
Ever heard of it?
Yeah, he had one bad experience on set by like a douchebag director, and he was like, "I'm done. I'm going home." Plus Joey maybe wants to bang, but she doesn't.
But she doesn't.
She just wants to play with my feelings because that's what she does.
Play with your feelings?
Dawson's feelings.
Yeah.
Oh, you were Dawson.
I'm speaking from the
Okay.
Dawson point of view.
Got it.
She doesn't play with my feelings. She doesn't know me. Why would I?
She plays with my feelings all the time. I feel personally offended by Joey.
Every single time.
Every episode.
Yeah. So Dawson's in therapy. That's all great and good. Dawson and Jen are, I don't know, rekindling a friendship. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but they're becoming closer. They have a lot of scenes together. So that's Dawson's thing. I mean, is there...
Yeah, I mean, Jen escorts Dawson to therapy because he chickened out the first time. So she's like there to make sure that he shows up. But she's kind of been his like support through his dad's death. And I think that Joey maybe feels like she wishes that she could play that role. But there's some awkwardness between them.
Well, because she was a bitch.
Yeah, because she like left him that voicemail being like, I think we're done. Or you should come here. I don't even remember what she said.
She was in the bathroom making a call on her flip phone, and there was a line of people outside at a house party. And they were like banging on the door, and she's like, can you give me a minute? And she could have just gone outside and made that call.
Yeah, it's really selfish.
Yeah, she's such an asshole.
People, I mean, what if somebody was about to fucking shit their pants? And
They were
she's like,
probably about to barf.
on the phone.
I was going to say, or throw up. Yeah, totally.
I'm on the phone. I'll go fucking shit in the yard. No, you go take your call in the yard.
And all she was telling Dawson was that it's time for them to move on. And yeah, she had to do it in the bathroom and hold up a whole line of people.
And then Dawson made a return call. Do you want to talk about that really quick?
I mean, we talked about that already. That was on a previous episode. But
I just liked your telling of it.
Oh, okay. So in a previous episode where Dawson shows up and goes to one of Jack's frat parties and gets drunk playing a non-drinking game where they just like stood around a table and each took turns drinking from the same red plastic Solo cup and then yelling at each other. I don't know what that game is. And then he's like really drunk, and then they show up to Pacey's boat party and Joey's there, and he was like, oh yeah, I was supposed to call you back, and I'll call you now and leave you a message the same way you left me a message, and then proceeds to call her while standing right in front of her and was like, hi, I'm leaving you a message. I was supposed to do it, but I'm just like you, and like maybe if you hadn't left that message the way that you did, then I wouldn't have come back to the East Coast and then got in a fight with my dad, and then maybe my dad would still be alive. LOL, and then he like wandered off.
I love it. I love
he wandered
that
off,
scene.
and Joey was like, "Oh shit!" And now the consequence of this is that Dawson is growing closer to Jen and leaning on her for support, and there's some tension between Dawson and Joey. And Joey, I think, is like acknowledges this and is supportive of Dawson getting whatever support he needs during this time, but also feels a certain way about it not being her instead of Jen for him to lean on during this time.
This is kind of interesting little I don't know if it's necessarily foresight on the part of the writers, but just that like it just seemed to connect really well for Dawson and Jen to reconnect, because I mean, the reason Dawson is going to Jen for support is because Jen's been through therapy. And so Dawson's like, what is it like? Or what can I expect? Or what's going to happen? You know, and Jen is giving him advice of, you know, what it might be like, and, you know, what the therapist might ask or say,
what
or
kind
talk
of plant
about.
she might have.
What kind of plant she might have in her office.
It's a spider plant.
By the window.
BT dubs.
She doesn't have spider plants in her window, though. She has some like orchids or something.
No, it was
She had a big ass spider plant.
Oh, that was a spider plant?
Yeah,
her hair also looked like a spider plant.
That's true.
There were 2 spider plants in that room.
Her hair and the big one by the window. Coincidentally, the actress we're talking about is Polly Perrette, who plays the like gothy lab chick in NCIS, and it took me a couple episodes to realize that, because in this in Dawson's Creek she's like blonde and has blonde spider plant hair, and looks much older because of the like semi Karen hairdo that they've given her, versus in NCIS where she's like a emo goth chick with black hair and is like really spunky and whatever, seems much younger.
And outside of the hairdos, I mean, Homegirl looks amazing she looks like she hasn't aged from Dawson's Creek to NCIS.
Right. And even currently, I looked at pictures of her.'s 52 now. The woman is 52.
And she looks
like a teenager.
Amazing.
How old is the rest of the Dawson's Creek cast now? Aren't they all?
They're all like 45-ish.
They're all, yeah.
They all look good. Well, I don't know what Pacey is up to.
Pacey looks good.
Pacey looks good. I don't know.
Joshua Jackson looks really good.
James Vanderbeek looks old.
He
and
looks
I
tired.
thought he looked, well, maybe a little tired.
He looks
got
tired.
6 fucking kids.
Isn't he super
6.
religious?
He
Yeah,
must
I
be.
think- no,
That ages you.
I think
It's the years and years of guilt and like indoctrination.
And also having 6 children. Why do you need that many children? And they're all like blonde and perfect.
Yeah, they live on like some farm in Austin, Texas now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like starting his own cult.
Yeah, he is.
I don't
He's
trust
going to
it.
get raided by the FBI soon.
He turns his children into little warriors.
How come all of the cults, they always move somewhere in the
Texas?
desert, Texas?
Because there's a lot of space there for you to do your own thing and nobody to watch.
And yeah,
and they
no,
always call the space that they like set up for their cult, it's always a ranch. So if James Vanderbeek
or
has
a compound.
compound, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
If we hear compound or ranch associated with James Vanderbeek, then we know for sure.
It's going to be the Vanderbeek compound.
Compound, yeah.
We just accused James
I know, guys.
He's just like living his life, you know.
He's like, I just, like to fuck a lot, and so I have a lot of kids. We don't
I
use birth
follow
control.
I follow James Vanderbeek on Instagram through our Basic Teen TV Instagram account, and I don't know, looks like they're just living like a normal ass life. Like
We're
big
just
deal.
really suspicious of anybody who has that many children. We're like, what
No, it's
are
sus.
you planning?
It's sus.
sus.
Cap. No cap. Say less.
Why do you need an army with your last name? Get the fuck out of here.
What are you trying to do? Take over all of Texas? Gotta spread your seed everywhere. Jeez. Okay.
All right.
Anyways.
Anyways.
What were we talking about?
Oh, and Katie Holmes actually did fall into
No, I don't think she did. I think that's one of the reasons why they got divorced. is because he fell into it.
Scientology.
Right.
Yeah, and she was because then he wanted. God, what's his name?
Tom Cruise.
Thank you. Tom Cruise wanted to take baby Siri on a boat to be homeschooled, and Katie Holmes wasn't going to get to see her own kid for like 3 years, and she was like, no. And then he's like, well, it's God's will or whatever it is that they pray to in Scientology.
Yeah, I actually don't know.
Yeah, and so then she was like, this is fucked up, and she like took her kid and went on the run.
Yeah.
So she was a victim of a cult, but not in the same way that like some victims are. She wasn't like
I mean,
deep in it.
I don't think she was in it at all. I mean, I think that was
Tom Cruise thing.
And she was like, no, sir, I'm out of here with my kids.
I just keep remembering that clip of Tom Cruise when he went on Oprah when he first started dating Katie Holmes, or they got married, and he was like super pumped and excited, and he like jumped on the couch and he was like, ah! Ah! That's how he walked out onto the show.
I do not remember
and then
that.
the whole interview, Oprah was like, how are things going with you and Katie? And he's like, it's fucking awesome. I'm so ecstatic. That was like the whole interview.
It was like a big meme because the memes were him like jumping on the couch and like there was like lightning bolts like shooting out of his hands.
Yeah, he was like in a manic state.
He's some celebrities are so big that they forget how to fucking act. Like they're not socialized well enough, like in normal interactions. Like they're not going to like after work happy hours or like vendor meetings or whatever. So they just forget how to fucking be a normal human.
And Tom Cruise has been super famous since the 80s.
Yeah.
That's a long time. He's like totally out of touch.
Yeah, he has no idea what humans act like. He's forgotten because he hasn't been
He's
around.
an alien now.
I mean, he might be. That's a whole other conspiracy.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, damn, I didn't. Yeah, let's
not even go down that
jump
road.
down that rabbit hole, please. Let's move on.
He's definitely a reptile, a reptilian.
Yeah, reptilian.
A lizard human.
Yes.
All right.
Anyways, moving on.
Let's move on to Pacey.
Oh yeah, Pacey.
So Pacey is in the middle of, with no fault of his own, in the middle of
An affair.
An affair. So Karen, the waitress, I learned that her full name is Karen Torres. Karen, the waitress, is having an affair with the head chef, Pacey's boss. And the chef's name I can't remember right now. But for a little like backstory, head chef asked Pacey if he can borrow his boat because he wants to take his wife out on a date. Turns out that the chef took Karen on a date on Pacey's boat, and Karen left her necklace on the boat. Pacey picked it up, bring it back to head chef, and said, "Hey, you forgot this on the boat." And head chef is like, "Okay, great, thanks." And then like some couple scenes later, Pacey notices that Karen is the one who's wearing this necklace. So Pacey puts two and two together and realizes that head chef and Karen are having an affair. So throughout this episode, Pacey is just like passively aggressively like dropping hints that he knows about the affair. And
he calls her out on it. The boat date happened like a couple episodes ago or something. But on this one, he's straight up is like, I know what you're doing.
Yeah, he confronts Karen about it.
But he didn't even want to. He was just acting like a real bitch at work. And she's like, what's your problem? Where's the usual bubbly Pacey? And Pacey was like, he's out for the day or something like that. And I'm like, dude, just say something right away or just don't at all.
Yeah, don't be a dick about it.
Yeah, he's being like in a real bitchy mood.
Well, yeah, like I said, being very passive aggressive. But I think like he's probably at that point trying really hard not to get involved because I think he realizes it's none of his business. But he also has feelings for Karen, and so he kind of can't help himself but get involved. And so he feels comfortable telling Karen like, "Hey, I know the deal. I know what's up." He doesn't tell head chef guy. I guess maybe because that's his boss and it might affect his job. But so he is just trying to get Karen to realize that this is not going to end well for her. Is there anything else on that?
Was this the episode where they had like some kind of party for their financial backers at the restaurant, and then and head chef's wife comes and Karen has to watch them like make out on the dance floor all
Right.
night?
Head chef's wife wasn't supposed to come. She wasn't going to show up, but then she surprises head chef, and like chef and Karen are like in the middle of a dance looking all cozy.
And Karen's about to like walk over there and say something.
No. So before all that happens, chef, this is at the beginning of the night. So Pacey's like in the kitchen, like getting prepared for this, big party. And Karen shows up and she looks really cute. She's all dolled up, and head chef is like in his tuxedo. And then head chef and Karen kind of like walk out to the middle of the floor and start dancing, and he's like swinging her around. And then head chef's wife shows up and she's like, oh, what's going on here? Like, oh. And Pacey, like they're very obvious in front of in the middle of the floor. Like it seems like they don't care if the secret of their affair like is seen by everybody.
Yeah, the entire staff.
The entire staff.
Or he's just like, I'm having a friendly dance with one of my waitresses, NBD. Nobody needs to know the real story. Except then head chef's wife rolls up and Pacey's like, oh, hey, head chef's wife.
Yeah.
Like really loud.
Really loud. Yeah.
And then of course like Karen and head chef like fucking act like each other are lava and like separate. And then she's like, I'm here. I wouldn't miss your big day. And then he's like spending the rest of the night on the dance floor, like lovingly, like stroking her hair and like kissing her while Karen is at the bar, like getting pissed off. And then Pacey's like, let's go dance. And don't worry about head chef and his wife because that shouldn't be your problem. And then she's like, I should go over and say something. And he's like, what are you going to fucking say? What are you going to say? Is right. What is she going to say?
That would have been disastrous if she walked over and said anything.
Everyone in Dawson's Creek needs to learn to stop saying so much. Shut the fuck up.
Say less.
Say less. Get less involved.
Say less. Go
Yeah.
home.
Yeah. So Pacey convinces Karen not to do anything in the moment because, it would just not end well for anyone involved. And I mean, how does that kind of resolve for this episode? Like just kind of ends right there?
Yeah, I think pretty much Pacey tries to give Karen a pep talk and be like, you're better than this and this isn't going to end well for you. You should really think about cutting it off with him. Oh, yeah, because he goes over to her apartment afterwards and like brings her some of the food from the party because he's like, oh, I noticed you weren't really eating. And then tries to be like, you should really cut this off. And she's like, I know, I should. But then while Pacey's there with her, head chef calls and starts leaving a voicemail being like, I'm so sorry you had to witness that. And I don't know what to say. And you're probably mad. And then she like answers the phone. And so Pacey just leaves. And that's it. He's like, well, I didn't get through to her.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Pacey left without even saying anything. Right.
Yeah,
he just like dipped.
Right. Well, because at one point the chef, before she picks up the phone, the chef says, I love you. And then Pacey's like, okay, I'm fucking out of here.
Yeah. He's like, I'm not going to convince
He's
her.
He's like, I'm taking one of these sandwiches from the party that I brought you and I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I also think, and I may be misremembering, but I feel like Karen's apartment is a recycled set from
Doug's apartment.
Yes, it is Doug's apartment. Scared Murphy. It is.
I was like, wait a minute. This looks exactly like Doug's apartment.
Yeah.
It's Doug's
the doors,
apartment.
the French doors that are the entryway.
Yes.
That's exactly the same.
Yeah, it's Doug's apartment.
Yes.
Well, it's funny too because when he shows up and knocks on the door, I'm like, "What is Pacey doing at Doug's apartment?" That's exactly what I thought when I was watching that
the
scene
writers
unfold.
thought the audience is fucking stupid. Like we wouldn't notice this.
We fucking noticed. We remembered from
We're hardcore fans.
3 seasons ago. I was like, wait a minute. This is an exact replica of Doug, except it's like decorated with like hippy dippy Karen shit instead of Doug shit.
Yeah.
Same set.
Yeah,
Same
Doug didn't even
set.
have any shit in his apartment. He had like a water tank or something.
What?
It was like an IKEA light in the corner, like one of those standard stand lights with the plastic globe top and like a water tank. Like a bachelor dude apartment.
Like a water cooler, like an office water
Yeah.
cooler? Oh, I don't remember
I
that.
don't remember that.
I don't know if that was actually in there, but that's
Just a weird
that
thing
was
he
the
made up.
vibe of it. You know what I mean?
That was the vibe of it. Okay. Victoria and I don't remember any of that, but all right. We'll
But-
take your word for it. Basically, it was Doug's apartment.
Yeah.
Now it's Karen's apartment.
I also thought, because when it was Doug's apartment, I was like, okay, because it's clearly like the parlor level of a house that's been converted into an apartment, and it's okay. It's in Cape Side, but Karen lives in Boston, and you can just walk right into the house. There was no buzzer or anything, because every time Pacey just shows up at her door, he's just like knock, 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 and her door is made of like.
It's like French doors.
Yeah, it's like balsa wood and glass with like
Balsa
a little latch on it. And I'm like, you have
That's the front door?
yeah, I was like, that's what's keeping people from busting in and like attacking you. And I looked at my front door, which is like steel and has like 12 locks on it. And I was like, girl, you need a better front door. That's not keeping anybody out. It's not safe.
Definitely not safe. I would never move into an apartment with that as the front door.
Plus, it's like she's got curtains because it's glass. She's got curtains over it, but people can still see whether you're home or
Yeah,
not.
they're French doors.
Yeah.
Like that you have separating your living room from your dining room.
Right.
In like
Yeah.
a house.
Yeah, but that's your front door of your apartment. So like everybody can kind of see what you're doing in there, or like if your lights are on or not, if you're home or not, if you're sleeping or not. I'm like, it's nothing about your front door is safe. This apartment is not
I mean,
safe.
it's upsetting.
Yeah, and there's no security on the building because Pacey's walked right in every time. She's not
Yeah,
buzzing
he's
him
come
in.
over multiple
And
times.
he's just shown up unannounced, and he's like knock knock on her little like cardboard door, and I'm like, oh god, girl, you need to move. Don't tell Pacey where you live either.
Wow.
Anyways, that's my
Anyways,
commentary on the Doug/Karen apartment. Same fucking set.
same fucking set. So then the other major storyline in this is Joey. Joey is figuring her way through the I guess special project, or I don't know what it is. Basically, in the last few episodes, Professor Wilder, her literature / English teacher, professor, is in charge of like going through the estate of this Rose Lazar person, who was, I guess, an alum of Worthington College. So they're reading through all her letters and like archiving everything, and they're going through a set of letters, and they're trying to figure out who she's writing these letters to. And there's all these theories going around. And so each person who's a part of this group is tasked with trying to figure out who these letters are written to. And so the whole episode, Joey's, trying to figure out, I mean, they're all trying to figure it out. But Joey's theory is that Rose was actually writing these letters to herself as more of like a journal.
As much as I hate Joey, that was fucking genius. No one else thought of it. Everyone is like, is she writing these letters to her best friend, her lover? Is she a lesbian?
Right, yeah.
And so Joey goes to the library to look at the yearbooks, and one of the chicks in the group is also at the library, and Joey sits down with her, and the chick goes, this whole thing is just an excuse
To hang out with Professor Wilder.
oh yeah, to be around Professor Wilder anyway, right? If I've said it once, I've said it a million times. They need to stop pushing this agenda on me. I do not find Professor Wilder to be remotely attractive. I
Oh,
don't buy
poor Ken Marino.
that he's the hot professor.
I mean, maybe
He's
it's
not unattractive.
He's the perfectly fine, normal looking, I wouldn't look twice professor.
But
he's a human being.
It
living
might
in the
just
world.
be like, like by proxy, like if the other professors in the college are all like
Old and crusty.
right? He's the hot one.
And he's young, he's hot.
But it's like
yeah.
the
And then-
writers on Dawson's Creek want me to think so badly that he's hot. I don't buy it, and I don't think it.
I mean, he'd be hotter if he cut his hair. He's got long moppy hair. I'm just like, get a haircut, you dirty hippie.
His hair's not that long.
It's like early 2000s mop. And I'm like, and I don't like it when it's like long on the back of the neck. Like if you got like a mop on top, fine. But like,
I mean, it does look stupid.
Off of your neck and off of your fucking ears. Like you just look like you just haven't been to the barber. And
yeah, I mean, he just looks like a big dumbass. Like a big dumpy. He looks like a big dumpy dumbass. I do not buy that he's the hot professor. And it's like the writers knew that he's not hot. So they're like, we really have to remind the audience that he's the hot one. So we're going to keep having a character say it in every episode. They need to stop. I'm protesting.
I wonder if they had somebody else in mind for that role and they couldn't get that actor. So maybe they got him and then they're like, well,
how are people going to buy this?
Yeah, they're like, we're just going to have to remind everybody that he's hot.
Yeah. I mean, it is every episode. A female character is like, ooh, Professor Wilder.
I mean, it's true. Even at the beginning when Joey is like getting ready to go to the group and Audrey is like, oh my God, what are you going to wear? Like, you're going to go hang out with Professor Wilder. Like, you need to look cute and like special for him. So even Audrey is like, trying to convince Joey that
it's because it's not obvious that he's super hot. I mean, objectively.
Right. I think if they, and I could see where maybe like some of the students would find him attractive, but not all. But the narrative is that every single female in that college thinks that he's the tits, and and he's not that guy. He's a guy that some people might find attractive and other people would just
maybe if he got a haircut, maybe.
Poor Ken Marino.
I mean, I'd go for it. I think he's attractive, but I get what you're saying. I don't think he's like so hot that every single 19-year-old girl in that college should be like losing their shit over him. He's just like the kind of professor that some of the girls might be hot for teacher over.
So Joey's theory, she presents it to the group and Professor Wilder is like, good job, Joey. I think you're the only one who has a plausible theory here that, these are probably written to herself. And
everyone else was super quiet after she said her idea.
Yeah. And Professor Wilder was like, do you hear that, Joey? It's the silence because everyone's pissed that
it's the sound of no one thinking
thought
of this
before. They're all mad because they didn't think of it, but you did. Good job, Joey.
Which is like a weird thing for a professor to say when you're trying to encourage all of your students to like think of something and maybe fail, come up with an idea, but maybe it's not the right one. And then you're advertising that one person did have the right idea and everyone else is just fucking wrong. That's the sound of
stupidity.
Idiocy.
Stupid. And then she stays after everybody else leaves. She stays after to help them clean up, and they have like a intellectual discussion about this, which is all well and good. But I really thought it was going to get creepy, and he was going to make a pass at her, and he didn't. It was all on the up and up. But
maybe they're not going to take it there at all.
I mean, I hope they don't. I mean,
I hope they do.
Oh, God, I just don't.
It'll be entertaining.
I just don't. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to be creeped out.
I do.
I don't want to be creeped out either, but also the show has taken it there. Usually though, with older women and younger men, one of the writers has
a
fetish for that. But apparently that doesn't apply to older men in authority and younger women
and young girls.
I mean, season 1, episode 2 started with Pacey having an affair with his teacher,
right?
And he was like 12 and she was like 48.
12. Well, there's still time, you guys. We're
fingers crossed.
We're early on in season 5, so
I want it bad.
There's still time for it to happen.
I mean, with the next episode, maybe they're pushing it in that direction because shit happens with Joey's love interest situation, and maybe she'll just get pushed into the arms of Professor Wilder.
Oh, I hope so.
Oh my God.
I just need it. I need the drama. Bring it on.
Yeah, we do need some drama because sometimes some of these episodes, like this one, are kind of dry, and they're just
this one was pretty dry.
It was like just filler. There's just like they're like, we need to explain some things so that we can join the last episode to the next episode. So it was just narrative filler.
Yeah, I mean, this
okay.
show really didn't need to have like 30 episodes per season.
Yeah,
They could have really cut out a lot of the filler and had all juice. You
Well,
know?
I think it's also a result of the late 90s and early 2000s TV making. Now things would be
we don't have the attention span.
right. Things now were like a lot quicker, a lot snappier, a lot like
Yeah, like get to the shit.
Yeah.
They're just things just move quicker. And are like a tighter narrative. This is like long and drawn out with like a lot of flowery conversations and a lot of meaningless bullshit that you have to sit through, and then you forget that it happened, and you're like, "What's even? What is the show that I'm watching? Why am I watching?"
I mean, I
this?
think this every time I watch the show. Every time I watch new 3 episodes, I really don't remember what happened in the 3 that I watched a couple weeks earlier.
That's why we take
Well,
these notes.
Yeah, I mean, you do pretty good though when we're talking about it. You were able to recall some stuff.
Some stuff.
Yeah,
Like the big things.
the big things. But I mean, but that's all that really matters, right?
I remember Doug's apartment.
We all picked up on that,
You
and I'm really
always remember the foliage.
Oh, yeah.
Always
Because it's
up.
just so fucking ridiculous.
You know,
They're in Boston in December, and it's like lush green trees.
yeah, like kudzu everywhere. You're like, no.
You know what we haven't come across though yet? No Spanish moss. I mean, they've been pretty good on that because you have not brought it up.
I haven't brought it up.
You have not.
Okay.
So now that they're not in Cape Side anymore and they're in Boston, do we think they're still filming in Wilmington, North Carolina? Is that where they were filming? Not Wilmington. Yeah, Wilmington.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I don't know.
Because it's supposed to be a totally different city. It's
Right. Yeah.
like an actual.
It's looked different. I mean, they've had city scenes. I don't know if they were all sets. A lot of them look like sets.
So you think they're on a back lot somewhere?
They might be.
Maybe.
We'll have to do some research.
Yeah, we'll have to look that up. But so how does it get back to Cindy, you had mentioned this that episode 7 ends with kind of a flashback to Dawson and Jen skinny dipping. And I remember this scene, but how is it brought up? Or how do we circle back to Dawson and Jen?
Was it in Dawson's therapy session and the therapist suggests something? Like,
I
don't
thought
you
they
have...
were having a conversation, Dawson and Jen, and then they were laughing about the time that they both went skinny dipping.
Yeah, I mean they have. Well, I don't think. I think up until like the end of this episode, they've not really talked about their past or what their relationship was when they were going out, and so it was only brought up at the very end of this episode, and I just can't remember the conversation that they had.
Me either.
That they're both kind of like reminiscing on their relationship and their different perspectives on how it ended or why it ended. And, Jen's been very like, I noticed this even at the beginning of this episode when they were sitting on the bench talking about therapy right before Dawson goes into his session. And Jen has just been kind of like googly eyeing him. I don't know if you guys picked up on that, but she's been like giving him these like doughy, lovey-dovey eyes at him a little bit. I mean, that's what I picked up on. I'm like, is there something going on? Is something happening right now? What's going on? So I guess clearly,
based on the other things that happened
you
in
guys didn't pick up
episodes
on it.
following this.
Yeah.
I
we'll
had
get
a
into
little
that.
bit of a gripe with the fact that they were revisiting this.
Yeah. I mean, I was
for the storyline.
I was a little confused as to why.
Why?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's probably also a good indicator of why none of us can remember what happened in the episode as to why this episode ended with a flashback of their skinny dipping episode. But anyways, so the episode ends with Dawson and Jen fondly remembering back on that one time that they went skinny dipping. And so that's how episode 7 ends. All right, guys. So that was Text, Lies, and Videotape. We will come back next week for episode 8, season 5 of Dawson's Creek. So thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. My name is Melissa.
I'm Cindy.
I'm Victoria.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.